Are you an arsehole and you just don't know it yet? Well, how about you let some people on Reddit decide for you? This is a subreddit r/am I the arsehole, a very famous subreddit, and today we're going to judge for ourselves whether or not these people are the arseholes. Am I the arsehole for ignoring our friend on our trip to Mexico? Last year, around this time, my friend and I planned a trip to Cancun Dream Natural Resort and Spa. Very sure I've mispronounced that, but oh well. We all wanted to drink, eat, dance and relax on the beach with no kids. I'm the only one without kids, so I was really looking forward to spending time with just my friends to unwind. Every other trip before this was planned with the kids, but this time there would be no early bedtimes, no crying, no screaming, no sand in our drinks because kids think it's funny to throw sand. So this is a girls' holiday they've planned. Seems very nice, very sensible. As long as they plan this quite a decent bit ahead, nobody should have a problem with this. But I mean, we know what subreddit we're on, so there is going to be a problem. 1 week before the trip, one of the friends said she's bringing her 10-year-old. This woman can never tell her kids no. We'd all warned her beforehand that if this happens, we weren't going to change anything. Yep, that's fair. I'm going on a trip with some of my mates. I'm paying for it. If they drop out, they have to pay. They all know that. It's fair game, you know? You set these sort of rules in place so people can't fuck you over, essentially. Whereas I doubt any of my friends would fuck me over. This one seems like it was a very predictable chance of happening from what has been said already. Also, not being able to say no to your kid is a very bad trait. If you don't say no to your kid, they're going to become really entitled when they grow up. To say I was annoyed was an understatement, lol, but I sucked it up. I still had 2 friends who were going child-free and had no intention of changing any plans. My 2 other friends and I drank, we ate amazing food, we danced all night and spent the day at the beach. The friend with the kid expressed her frustration about the rest of us doing what we wanted and she couldn't. My response was pretty much, well, that sucks, but we're not going to change the entire point of the trip just because of your inability to tell your kid no. Yeah. No, that's fair then. Yeah, they can do whatever they want. They planned this trip to be kid-free. If they disinclude you because of that, I think that's very fair. They made it quite clear, no kids. They've said this from the start, from what it seems like. So yeah, I think I know what side I'm swaying to, but let's see if it changes towards the end of this post. We invited her to do what we were doing multiple times, but her response was always, I can't, my kid wants to go. So, there was definitely tension between the 3 of us and her for the entire trip. When we were making our long way back home, all 3 of us got a really nasty message from her fiancé, calling us bad friends, and how dare we not resolve our entire trip around her and their kid. That she had a terrible time and it was our fault. No, it was not your fault. Shut the fuck up. This was very clearly the mother's fault. Don't bring your 10-year-old on a girl's vacation. This was very clearly not meant for a 10-year-old. Whatever you planned or everything you've got sorted, those were not made for a 10-year-old, and you should not change what you wanted to do simply because somebody has the inability to say no. It's also so entitled to have your fiancé whinge all of your friends because they didn't include you. I mean, they've literally said they, asked, but your kid wanted to do something different, so you went for what your kid wanted to do. I think this post is very much leaning towards one side, but there's still a bit left, so let's read the tail's end of this post. I was like, pardon? That was pretty much the last straw for me. Now I never tell my friends how to parent their children, but their daughter is so nasty. She's so spoiled and, like I've stated earlier, has never been told no. So you can understand how entitled this child is. My other friends are a lot more reasonable when it comes to their children. Their children are polite, have a general understanding about boundaries, and they behave really well for 8 to 10-year-olds. That's good. Yeah, it's very clear that the mother of the 10-year-old in this situation clearly needs to be a lot more strict and a lot more putting the foot down. It's very clear that this kid is entitled. I think this entire family is entitled, which of course builds that into a kid. How a kid is raised when they're young usually shows how they're going to be for the rest of their life. I mean, there can be changes, but building a foundation in childhood is usually what sets the brickwork for what the child is going to be like when they grow up. So yeah, I'm not surprised. My text back to him was pretty much, we made these plans a year in advance, expecting us to be fine with the fact that you guys dropped it on us, that your child was coming a week before we were leaving, and then expecting us to change everything and cancel all our plans because you guys can't tell your kid no is not fair to us at all. That is your you problem, not ours. Yes, extremely correct. Very much correct. I don't think there's anything to floor you on with that. I think that's quite a fair text to send back, and I think that's quite reasonable. I'd understand if something came up and she had no choice but to bring her kid. Shit happens, people cancel. But that was not the case. Her fiancé was home the entire time, and her grandmother was looking forward to watching her granddaughter. But the kid freaked out about not being allowed to go on the trip, and they couldn't tell her no. Okay, yep. They had everything in place to make this perfect for the mother. A perfect trip away, to get some time away. But nope. They decided to fuck that over because they can't tell their kid no. Yeah, this is very clear who's in the wrong. Now her and her fiancé are super pissed. Were we in the wrong here? No, that is the answer to that. The poster is not an arsehole. The poster is very correct in this. They have been very clear, they've stuck to their grounds. Yeah, I don't think the poster is the arsehole here. I think the mother is. Like, they had stuff in place. They just could not say no to their child, and that's the only problem here. Well, it's not the only problem. I mean, the fact that the fiancé has put himself in the picture, even though he was at home the entire time. The grandmother wanted to take care of the kid. You know, this seems like a very good setup. It seems like the mother should have been able to get away with it, have some time away, but nope, they just could not say no to their kid, and well, that's that, I guess. So yeah, in this case, the poster is not the arsehole. Will I be the arsehole for suing my friend when she didn't come to my wedding? This one has been pre-tagged not the arsehole, so let's see whether we agree with that judgment. I, 25F, recently got married to my 25M husband in Bali, Indonesia. I don't know if that was pronounced correctly, I highly doubt it, AN, in January. It was a destination wedding, but my parents and his parents paid for their own plane tickets and hotel. But we paid for our friends' plane tickets and hotel stays. Each plane ticket was about $2,000. And hotel was maybe about $150 to $300 for a week. My friend Gemma brought along her newlywed husband John along, but paid for his plane ticket. That's fair. That's really fair. Yep, very fair. Let's see how this devolves, because it seems like this friend Gemma may or may not have just got away with a free holiday, or at least half price. The problem is that Gemma and John did not show up to my wedding. Yep, there you go, perfect. Quite the call. I already know what this is going to swing towards, but yeah, she's done this to get a free holiday. She's got a hotel room, she's not had to pay for her ticket, she's only had to pay for her husband's ticket. Yeah, this seems like a very cheap, easy holiday for them. Gemma took the free plane ticket to Bali and the hotel room, and when I asked her why she didn't show up, she said that since they couldn't afford their own honeymoon, that this was a perfect opportunity, and that Jim decided that he didn't feel like going. Jim? Yep, changing the name from John to Jim. Don't know if that's an accidental slip of putting the real person's name in, or whether John was the real person's name in the first place, but oh well. I mean, just not being bothered to go to one of your friend's most important days of your life is crazy. Also, you can't just use somebody else's wedding as a honeymoon. This is somebody's wedding, not your vacation. A lot of people in the UK, if they can't afford a honeymoon, they'll go to somewhere in the UK, like people will go to Blackpool, people will go to Wales, people will go down south, people will go up north, people will go to Ireland maybe. You know, there's a lot of choices. You don't have to go somewhere exotic for your honeymoon. While I get it's probably nicer, it's probably a lot nicer to do that, it does not mean you have to. You know, there is other alternatives. I was really hurt by this since Gemma and I have been friends for over 10 years. Will I be the arsehole if I took her to small claims court for the money I spent on the plane ticket and hotel? No. You are completely in the right here. She should not have taken your friendship and used it like this. This is a very important day for you, and she's gone and said fuck you pretty much and disregarded you and what you wanted just so she could have a free holiday. Well, not free, but heavily discounted. So I think this is very much kick in the arse. And yeah, you definitely should sue this girl. Sue her ass. Update! I messaged Gemma per multiple comments advising me to invoice her for the plane ticket and hotel room. But I did something a little better. I wanted to get proof, so if I had to go to court, it would be easy to win. I messaged her this. Hey, sorry for being so distant, but I just wanted to talk to you about Bali. I'm hurt that you didn't show up to the ceremony. I pulled a lot of strings to ensure that you could come and then you didn't show up. Did you think I paid for the trip just so you could honeymoon with John? She replied, I've missed you a lot and I know the trip was for your wedding, but John didn't want to go because he felt like your wedding ruined the illusion of the trip being our honeymoon and that you'd understand. What the fuck? No. Just no. You should not be using this as a pseudo honeymoon. Like, you can do, but it's for the express purpose of going to this person's wedding. It's for the express purpose of going to the poster's wedding. So you should have gone to the poster's wedding at least. I don't care if you are treating this as a honeymoon. At least go to the person's wedding who's been graceful enough to invite you there and pay for the majority of your stay. I replied, no, I don't understand. You took advantage of me and that's not what real friends do. So I'm invoicing you $2,387.53 for the cost of the plane ticket and hotel room. I'll give you 30 days and after that I will be taking legal action. I received no response, but she's been posting subliminal quotes on Instagram along the lines of entitled friends and having snakes in your life. Thank you for all your verdicts and help. Yep. This friend seems like a shitmate who has tried to use you and now is spitting the dummy out because you've taken action. And I think you've taken the right action. I think you've taken all the right steps to be cordially with this and still be very polite. But this friend clearly does not value your friendship as much as you value theirs. Edit/update part 2. I didn't think this could get worse, but here we are. I didn't respond to any of the subliminal messages she posted about me on social media, and I've been very quiet while I've been getting my ducks in a row for the litigation. But this past Friday, she sent me a 3-page audit of financial and emotional contributions from 2015 to present. I wish I was fucking joking. The audits, she itemised every dinner or lunch we've ever ate together. She estimated $18 per meal. Gas money for driving to and from hangouts. A birthday gift from 2017 that she now claims she went into debt for. Time she spent emotionally supporting me after my dad passed. She said she took on the role of a grief counsellor for me, even though I talked to her on the phone about it once for 30 minutes. One time she helped me move apartments. She wants to be paid for the labour. An emotional distress caused by me threatening litigation. Her grand total, $2,412.09, which she conveniently within $25 of what I invoiced her. She then told me that if we're really keeping score that I owe her $24.56. This woman is delusional, what the fuck? These are all like niceties you do with your friend. Like, I will buy stuff for my friends and they'll be like, oh, I'll pay you back later. No, I don't want you to pay me back later. It's a nicety, it's something I do for my friends. But this is taking it to a new level. Stop being petty and start opening that wallet and get a bit of cash out. Because you fucking owe this person. I think I stood at the document for 10 minutes in silence, in shock with the audacity, because this bitch is delusional. I agree. I very much agree, yeah. To clarify, I never asked her to cook for me. While I was in college, she did pay for lunches, but when I definitely returned the favour big time once I graduated. I bought her many gifts over the years. I've let her stay at my house several times when she and John argued, and I have also lended a shoulder for her to cry on when she had difficult times in life. But apparently, being a friend is now billable. I decided to give the message a thumbs down because if I respond, I will be extremely disrespectful with the anger I am facing. I cannot wait for these 30 days to be over because I will be suing the fuck out of her. You are absolutely in the right. Holy shit, it is unbelievable how correct you are. There is no way about this. You have been so respectful, so nice. I don't see how it's gotten worse, because nothing you have done has ruined this. You have been brilliant about this. I cannot commend how well you have handled this situation. Now, in my mind, what I'm thinking is, if you really want to be petty, do the same back to her. Start billing her for every single thing you've paid for over the year. Start adding in labour costs or the emotional counselling bullshit she's added in. Because I think you'd be able to get a much greater sum. And it's petty, you won't follow it up, but I think it's just quite funny. Am I the arsehole for not trying hard enough to include my sister-in-law who has been snotty all night? So I didn't get along much with my sister-in-law, Lena. She says stuff like, if I don't make fun of you, that means I probably don't like you, because it's my love language. But she's my brother's wife. He asked me at Christmas if I could try to spend more time and include her in things because she has a hard time making friends. I don't like to let people feel left out. A lot of people do have a joking nature. Sometimes they don't know their own boundaries and they go over somebody else's boundaries and they hit a point. I understand that. I do that sometimes, I believe, but I don't know. I think that's very normal. It is not your obligation to involve her. If she has so little friends, it is her own sort of obligation to go find those herself, but I understand you wanting to help out your brother. Let's see how bad this gets, because I'm expecting this to get bad. I was having a girls' night a few weeks ago and invited her, like skincare, masks and some bubbly wine. I asked others to bring whatever else. She showed up with a board game called Carcassonne and a bottle of Jack. Not a clue what Carcassonne is, probably pronouncing that wrong. Let's keep going. None of us are into board games, but no harm in giving it a try. So I told her to get it set up. It was not a hit, and Lena gets very annoyed by people not guessing it. She asked if I at least had a Switch or something. I said no. I understand being annoyed at your friends they're not even your friends, these are just people you know. But people just not getting what the game's supposed to be and it's taking a long time. If it's something that you find really enjoyable and really fun, it can be frustrating to see other people disregard it and throw it aside. But this is all in the way that you present yourself about this and how you show your displeasure. I said no, so she just sat on her phone and drank. We kept trying to get her involved, but she was not interested. I asked her if there was something she'd like to do and offered her a paint by number or diamond art, and she said she wasn't 6. So you've tried to involve her, and she's spat a dummy out. She's having a little strop in the corner on her phone. There's not really much you can do about this. Essentially, you've kind of got somebody killing the vibe. I don't think I would blame you if you said, it's time to go to this person. Probably would make everything worse, but I think that's very fair. She got drunk after only being there for an hour and started making fun of the playlist. Look, I don't care if you don't like Taylor Swift. I lost interest when I grew up too, but calling her a fat drunk cunt is gross. Then, later on, it's a Lauryn Hills song, and she starts asking us what's with the shitty music. Not a clue who Lauryn Hills is. Very sorry. I don't know if this is shit or good, so... Hey, if you know who she is, let me know in the comments, is her music good? I would like a little gauge on this. I had enough, but I yelled out, Lena, is there anything that you do like? All you're doing is being nasty to us. Well, she climbed right up, then like 15 minutes later, she gets up, I see my brother's car out front, Lena leaves, no goodbye. Damn, yeah, okay. Very much her way or the highway sort of person. Yeah, I know people like that. I don't think you'll be doing any niceties anytime soon. You really tried with this one, which is great. I'm glad you did, but yeah. Seems like the blame game is coming up here. Let's read the tail end of this. The next day, my brother calls me and he's like, so you couldn't even try to do something Lena would like? She said all you guys did was sit around and act suppressive and offended by everything she says. I said she should have said something to me before she came. I would have told her to bring her Switch because I know some of the girls at least can play Mario Kart. He said I just made her feel shitty about herself and I shouldn't just play off her comments like a joke and serve it back. I said I'm not a man and I'm not going to act like one. He said I didn't even try to make her feel welcome. I think that I did. Am I the arsehole? P.S. I did this by voice, so sorry if it's written badly. In the case of this one, you're not the arsehole. You're really clearly not the arsehole. You have done everything you can for this person. They should have let you know what sort of interests they had beforehand, because then, yeah, you could have catered to them better. Even in the first place, you're being really cordial with actually saying you're going to cater to their interests, because you have no responsibility. You don't have to cater to their interests. You're just being really nice. So, you might have to do a bit of working out with your brother here, but, I don't know. This one might be a bit complex and might tear that relationship apart, unfortunately. Sad to say, I'm glad I'm an only child and don't have to deal with strife like this. But, yeah, I can see that there's probably going to be some issues here. Thank you very much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, I would love to do a part 2 on this, because this was very interesting and I don't think I've explored as much of what I could have explored in this video. But with that all said and done, please do like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Hey, maybe comment down below what your favourite part of the video was. With that all said and done, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. See ya.